Hello, welcome back to my channel. This video is the part 3 of the series on how to create different sleeve styles in CLO 3D. If you haven't already watched the part 2 tutorial, be sure to check it out so you don't miss any of the techniques I've covered so far. In this video, I will be showing you 4 more sleeve designs. Let's get started. The first style is bishop sleeve. Bishop sleeves are long, flowing sleeves that gather at the wrist, often finished with a cuff or band, creating a soft and elegant silhouette. They are fitted at the shoulder and upper arm, with fullness that gradually increases toward the wrist for a dramatic yet refined look. In the 3D workspace, I have uploaded a long sleeves blouse pattern that I will modify to a bishop sleeve. For this design, I will finish the sleeve with an exaggerated tall cuff. Select top segment line from the cuff. Right-click and choose Offset Pattern Outline. Add 1.5 inches to the cuff height, making it approximately 3.5 inches tall. Select the 2 side points on the top segment line. Drag them outward to increase the cuff opening width and accommodate the forearm shape. Use button tools to add 3 sets of buttons and buttonholes. Click Fasten Button tool from 3D Window toolbar. Select all the buttons and drag the arrows to the matching buttonholes and click to exit. Simulate to make sure all the buttons are fastened properly. Increase thickness rendering slightly and apply bond to stiffen the cuff. Since I am making a high cuff style, I can eliminate the sleeve placket opening by deleting the slash line. Moving on to the sleeve pattern, I will first demonstrate the classic bishop style, which gradually widens from the top to the bottom of the sleeve. Select Add Point Split Line tool. Use Uniform Split to divide the bottom sleeve segment line into 6 sections with 5 points. Use Fullness Point tool. Draw a line from shoulder point to the hemline center point. Drag out and right-click to bring out Spread Window. Enter the distance amount you prefer and click OK. Then draw another line from back armhole to the back hemline point. Select a side to rotate and spread open. Right-click to bring out Spread Window to enter distance move amount. Repeat the same process to finish the front slash lines. Once it's done, use Smooth Curve tool to reshape hemline. Delete all the slash lines with Trace tool and simulate. If you encounter collision during simulation, try freezing the cuff first. And I have made a classic bishop sleeve. In some of bishop sleeve, you will see the sleeve drape lower in the back. To do so, you can first add a center point to the sleeve hemline and another point to the back sleeve segment. Drag the back hemline point lower to your preference and slightly lower the center hemline point. Reshape the hemline and simulate. You can change to a stiffer material to make sleeve puffier. For this blouse, I would like the bishop to start widen from middle of the sleeve. So, I will demonstrate that on the left sleeve pattern. First, I will add a horizontal internal line to the center of the sleeve seam. Right-click and choose Cut and Sew to divide the pattern. On the bottom section, use Fullness Line tool to select top and bottom segment lines. Enter the desired distance moved amount to fullness and slash line length. Then merge the bottom section back with the top sleeve pattern. Use Smooth Curve tool. Drag the center sleeve point all the way out to create a new smooth curve line. Simulate to check the shape of the sleeve. The sewing relation was incorrect, so I will fix the sewing connection using Edit Sewing tool. Also, the center of the sleeve draped too low and sleeve underseams is a little short. I will increase the sleeve seam's length and reshape the hemline curve. Now the fit is much better. I will add shirring effect to the sleeve hemline and continue to adjust the sleeve shape until it achieves the desired look. Once the sleeve is complete, select all the left sleeve pattern, right-click and choose Symmetric Pattern with sewing to make duplicate for the other side. Fix the missing sewing lines and simulate. And I have finished the bishop sleeve blouse. It's time to add detail finishing for rendering. The second style I will demonstrate is the Juliet sleeve. Juliet sleeves are long and fitted with a cute puff gathered at the shoulder, giving them a stylish, dramatic look. This design was particularly popular during the Renaissance and adds a touch of sophistication to any garment. In the 3D window, I uploaded a new dress block with a square neckline. Before modifying the sleeve pattern, adjust the sleeve to your desired fit. Juliet style consists of two sections, the upper and lower sleeve. First, you need to decide how far the upper sleeve will extend. Then, draw an internal line, right-click and choose Cut and Sew to divide the sleeve pattern. Next, I will transform the upper portion into a puff sleeve. If you have seen my previous tutorial, you might already know how to create a puff sleeve, but for new viewers, here are the steps. First, increase the sleeve width. You can drag and adjust the points manually, or what I am doing here is using Fullness Line tool. Select top and bottom segment lines to open Fullness window and enter distance moved amount on both fullness and slash line in both directions. Add a point to the front and back armhole segments to indicate where the fullness will be. Move the shoulder point upward to increase the sleeve cap height. Reshape the curves using the Smooth Curve tool. Remove baseline with Trace tool. Reposition the sleeve pattern in 3D window. Increase arrangement offset in Property Editor to open up the sleeve pattern to prevent overlapping that might cause collision issues. Click Simulate. The puff effect is not quite sufficient. I will use fullness point to slash the bottom segment to add fullness. And also add more height to the sleeve cap. Next, I need to revise sewing connection. Since I added a 3-inch point to both front and back sleeve curve, I will do the same on the front and back armholes. These 3-inch segments will be the non-shirring section. Connect them with sewing tool first. Then attach the gathering portions to the remaining armhole segments. Click Simulate and adjust the sleeve as needed. Once I am satisfied with the fit, lower particle distance to 10 and simulate again to let it drape more. Select the gathering segments on the sleeve pattern and turn on shirring effect in Property Editor. Change to a stiffer fabric to enhance the puffiness of the sleeve. Select front and back armhole segments. Turn on elastic function in Property Editor and set ratio to 100% to prevent armholes from stretching. And there, the Juliet sleeves pattern is done and I can start adding finishing details. By the way, if you are using non-stretch woven fabric, you should have a sleeve placket for practicality purpose. If you don't know how to create placket, here is how to make one. First, use Add Point Split Line tool to divide sleeve hemline and add 3 points to determine the placket's location. Use the back sleeve hemline point as the guide to draw a placket shape with internal polygon tool. Select all the placket internal segments. Right-click and choose Cut and Sew to create the top placket. Duplicate this piece for the under placket. Remove all sewing connections and position the under placket near the sleeve cutout using Gizmo. Place the top placket above it and strengthen both patterns. Attach the top and side segments of the placket to their corresponding sleeve sections. Simulate to make sure they are sewn correctly. Add a center internal line to both placket patterns. Use Button tool, move cursor to the first button placement on the center internal line. Right-click to bring out Create Button along internal line window. Enter interval amount and number of button to evenly space the buttons along the placket. Choose a button style and adjust the size. Use Select Move Button tool from 3D Window toolbar. Select all the buttons, right-click, copy and mirror paste to duplicate the buttons to the other placket. Select all the buttons on the top placket, right-click and convert them to buttonholes. Adjust the size, angle and type of buttonholes according to your preference in Property Editor. Use Fasten Button tool to select all the buttons and drag the arrows to the matching buttonhole and click OK. Simulate to check if there's any issue. For this placket, I am adding a decorative ruffle trim along the edge. Here is the final render result of the Juliet sleeve style. Up next is a simple style that's easy to create, but it adds a modern, chic vibe with just a hint of subtle allure to your design. The cold shoulder sleeve features strategic cutouts that elegantly expose the shoulders while keeping the rest of the sleeve intact. This design effortlessly blends trendy playfulness with refined elegance, making it a versatile choice for both casual and formal ensembles. In the 3D workspace, I have made a long sleeve fitted dress featuring a front keyhole cutout. For this design, I will create a cutout from shoulder to the upper sleeve cap. First, draw an internal line from shoulder point to the sleeve hemline. Next, add a point at front and back shoulder seams to mark the starting points. On the front and back armhole segments, I will add another point to define the extent of the cutout. Draw a slightly curved internal line connecting the shoulder and armhole points. On the sleeve pattern, starting from the shoulder point, add a point to front and back using the same cutout distance measured from the armholes. Create a curved line to connect these 2 points. Hold Shift and select all 3 cutout lines to review the shape. Once all the internal lines are selected, right-click and choose Cut. Then delete them. Adjust the sewing connection if necessary. Simulate. And I have made a basic cold shoulder style. To elevate the design, I will add fullness to the sleeve cutout section and let it drape gracefully. Select Sleeve Center Internal Line. Right-click and choose Cut and Sew. Using Fullness Point tool, from the underarm point, create 3 slash lines. Rotate and spread them to add fullness to the sleeve cap on both pieces. When it's done, merge the center seams back together. Delete all the slash points and simulate. Change avatar to attention pose to view how the sleeve drapes with the arms hanging naturally. Lower particle distance to 10 and simulate. I think it needs more fullness. Using Fullness Point tool to increase the width on the sleeve cutout segment. Simulate and adjust the sleeve in 3D window. I like the fit better now. Reduce the particle distance to 5 and simulate to allow the fabric to drape naturally and achieve a more realistic appearance. Finally, select the sleeve pattern. Right-click and choose Symmetric Pattern with sewing to mirror the sleeve on the opposite side. To finish, I will add binding around the cutout edges. And here is the final render. Pretty straightforward, right? For the final demonstration, I am going to make cowl sleeves. This sleeve style features soft, flowing folds of fabric that drape elegantly, creating a look of effortless sophistication. It brings a romantic vibe and looks great for both casual and formal outfits. As usual, I have prepared a new dress silhouette tailored for this sleeve design. To achieve cowl sleeves effect, I will need to add pleats to the sleeve pattern. Before starting, it's good to have an idea for the number and size of pleats you want to create. For this demonstration, I will add 5 pleats, each with around 1-inch fold, to both front and back sleeve segments. First step, I will use Fullness Point tool to increase sleeve cap width. Then drag shoulder point upward to lengthen the sleeve cap by about 10 inches on both front and back segments. Reshape sleeve curve and remove slash lines and unnecessary points. I want the pleats to begin 1 inch away from the shoulder point. Using the Add Point Split Line tool, I'll mark a 1-inch point on both the front and back sleeve curves, as well as on the armholes. Attach these sections to the armhole using sewing tool. Reset 3D arrangement and reposition the sleeve around the arm, and click Simulate. Adjust the sleeve and make sure it fits correctly. Next, I will start adding pleats. The front sleeve segment is now 10 inches longer than the armhole. Divided this by 5 pleats, and each pleat will measure 2 inches wide. Use Add Point tool to mark the pleats along the segment. Between each pleat, I will add 0.5 inches separation. Once all the placement are marked, draw an internal line about 1.5 inches at the second point to each pleat. The precision for these lines are not critical since they are created to help fold and sew the pleats. When finishing adding the lines, add a center point to each pleat and also draw another internal line on each point. Strengthen the sleeve pattern. Select all the second point internal lines. Go to Property Editor and turn on Fold Rendering. Change fold angle to 0 to create a mountain fold. Then select all the center point internal lines. Turn on Fold Rendering and change fold angle to 360 degrees to create a valley fold. All the selected internal lines will change to blue color. By doing this, all the pleats will fold upwards. Use Sewing tool to sew each pleat fold, and simulate to check if there's any issue. Then use Free Sewing tool to connect the front sleeve to the front armhole. Simulate to check if the sleeve fits correctly. Lower particle distance to 10 to let it drape nicer. For the back sleeve, I will repeat the same steps to add 5 pleats along the line. When it's completed, simulate. Change avatar to attention pose to get a better view of the sleeve. Right now, the sleeve pleats are looking a little messy even after I lowered the particle distance to 5. When making cowl style in real life, you can manually fold the pleats and steam iron them to mold the shape. However, the process is different when making the style in CLO 3D. To achieve the look I want, I will connect front and back sleeve internal lines using internal polygon tool. Adjust line angle and reshape the curve to control how the pleats drape on the arm. The new internal line will follow the same fold angle. When it's done, strengthen the pattern and simulate. It looks much nicer, but the fold edges are too sharp. To soften them, I will select all the mountain fold internal lines and turn off the fold rendering in Property Editor. Gradually increase the fold angle until I'm satisfied with the result. Last step, I will create a symmetric pattern for the opposite side. And here is the final rendering for the cowl sleeve. That wraps up this tutorial on creating different sleeve styles. Thank you so much for watching this series. I truly hope you found it helpful and inspiring. I would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments how I can improve my videos or my channel, and feel free to share what you'd like to see next. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe to stay updated with future tutorials. Thanks again for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.